EBA and New York's NYDFS sign, Stablecoin Oversight Pact. The European Banking Authority and the New York State Department of Financial Services signed a memorandum of understanding on June 3, 2026 to coordinate how they supervise stablecoin issuers and share data across the Atlantic. The agreement announced by the EBA sets out principles for exchanging information on market trends and risks and for assisting each other during emergencies. It is the first formal supervisory link between Europe's markets and crypto assets regime and the U.S. stablecoin rules signed into law last year. This is not a new rule book. It is a plumbing connection between two existing ones. The EBA frames the deal as part of carrying out its duties under MiCA, the EU framework that took effect in late 2024. On the U.S. side, NYDFS is the regulator that licenses and examines several dollar token issuers operating out of New York. The supervisory data points the two authorities will exchange. The memorandum covers a specific list of supervisory data points rather than a vague pledge to cooperate. According to the EBA, the two authorities will exchange details on issued stablecoins, total circulation volume, the number of holders, external and internal audit results, and the regulatory standing of specific products and services. The scope is limited to the stablecoin-related activities of supervised entities, not the entirety of any company's business. That limitation matters. Several large stablecoin issuers run trading, custody, and payments arms that sit under different regulators. The EBA NYDFS channel is narrow by design. It follows the token, not the parent company. The deal also includes a crisis protocol. If a major issuer wobbles, the two sides have agreed to mutual assistance and coordination rather than reacting in isolation. The collapse of a large dollar token would not respect a border, and a holder in Frankfurt and a holder in New York would face the same frozen redemptions at the same moment. Coordinated oversight raises the cost of inconsistency. A stablecoin issuer that wants to operate on both sides of the Atlantic already answers to MiCA in Europe and to a U.S. regime at home. Until now, those examinations ran on separate tracks. An issuer could present one picture of its reserves and holder base to one regulator and a different cut of the same numbers to another. With circulation figures, holder counts, and audit results flowing between the EBA and NYDFS, that gap closes. The global stablecoin market stood above $319 billion as of June 3, 2026, with Tether's USDT and Circle's USDC the two largest by market value. Both tokens are central to how crypto cards actually move money. Most card programs convert a user's balance into a dollar stablecoin at the point of sale or settle merchant payments in one. So the reserve quality and audit posture of USDC and USDT is not an abstract compliance question for cardholders. It is the asset sitting behind the swipe. For issuers, coordinated oversight raises the cost of inconsistency. The tokens that clear a dual audit standard are the ones most likely to keep their place on regulated stablecoin spending rails. Smaller or thinly audited tokens face a harder road onto cards aimed at users in the United States and the EU. The pact within a wider regulatory push, the memorandum arrives during an active stretch of stablecoin policy on both continents. In the United Kingdom, the Bank of England has been working through holding caps and reserve rules that critics argue could push pound stablecoins to the margins. The EBA NYDFS deal points the other way. Instead of restricting a token, it tightens the supervisory net around the issuers that already exist. For European cardholders, the practical takeaway is continuity. A USDC or USDT balance funding a Visa or MasterCard crypto card in the EU is now backed by an issuer whose US examiner and EU examiner compare notes. That does not remove counterparty risk. A custodial token is still a claim on a company, and a failure can still freeze balances, which is part of why some users prefer cards that spend from a self-custody wallet. The agreement narrows the odds of a regulator being blindsided, not the odds of a token failing.